Hello again, YouTube. It's good to see you. It's your friendly face from the north, Mr. Knox. Well, I am, as you probably noticed at the back here, in a completely different location. That is because I am at my mum and dad's house. I'm here with my little boy. We're here for the weekend. If you're wondering where my mum and dad's house is, you may have heard of the place over the last 24, 48, 72 hours. It's a little town called Runcorn. What's Runcorn famous for now? Well, aside from the TV show 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, which honestly was absolute cack. It's also famous for the Silver Jubilee Bridge that was built in the 1960s, or rather in the 1950s and completed in the 1960s, I should say. It's also famous for the Mersey Gateway Bridge, both of which have been tolled. As in, you have to pay money to cross them, unless you live in Runcorn or Widnes, and then you don't have to, because you get a little sticker. But that's beside the point. What is Runcorn now famous for? Runcorn is now famous for being a reform constituency. I really don't know what's going to happen now. Yeah, I'll say that again. I really don't know what's going to happen now. Admittedly, I actually called this result back in October when I saw that the former MP for this area, Mike Amesbury, ended up punching a constituent on a night out in Frodsham. Now, if you don't know about the seat, as I may have mentioned in a few videos, but if this is the first time you're watching, then the seat is called the Runcorn and Helsby seat. But there's Runcorn, Frodsham, and Helsby in the midst of all this. And I honestly think, and this is just me saying this, I called it in the last time that they were going to have this election, so I'm going to say this. I actually think what Mike Amesbury has done in giving up his seat because he's punched a constituent because he's been found guilty, but also because the door is now open to reform here in the north of England, I have a feeling that the red wall is going to start to crumble one by one by one. I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. Earlier today, I was up watching the by-election result. And although they were contesting the seat for Runcorn and Helsby, they were actually calling it in Widnes, which is the next town over that way. I've lived in Widnes. You might not think it to look at me, but I actually have autism, and I lived in what you would call a sheltered accommodation in Widnes. And I loved living there, I really did. But even I could tell that there was rumblings underneath the surface. So what does this mean? Well, because they called the result in Widnes, the MP for that area, which is a fellow called Derek Twigg, used to be the MP for Halton, which included, at the time, Runcorn. But no, he's now just the MP for Widnes. If they were calling it in Widnes, that now means that there's a possibility that Widnes might be the next target when it comes to reform trying to get somewhere. I mean, they've taken a little seat that, unless you were from the Greater Northwest, possibly the West Midlands, like as in Stoke round there, or maybe North Wales, chances are you'd never heard of it. Now the entire country has. And I feel that one by one, all of these constituencies are going to fall. I'm not going to call it, but that's what I feel is going to happen. That is my little theory. That's all I've got on the matter. It's just a theory. I am now curious as to see what happens. Will Labour continue to crumble? Or will they stay as they are? Time can only tell. Now, if you've liked what I've got to say, then please, by all means, give me a thumbs up. Give me a like, give me a share, get me out there. If you don't like what I've got to say, let me know. I promise you, I will be very decent with you. Tell me where you disagree, if you disagree. And if you disagree, then brilliant. If you don't disagree, then brilliant. Because this channel, like others that I follow, is all about free speech. What my channel is trying to do is just show a couple of things that have happened. And we're not like other channels that tell you what to believe, what to listen to. With us, it's a case of we present, especially with my channel, I present my opinion, or someone else presents a differing opinion, and you can make your own mind up there from how you see it. So as I said, if you like what I've got to say, give me a like, give me a share, because it helps get my algorithm up. If you don't like what I've got to say, then brilliant. In any case, it doesn't matter because you have just watched my video. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this. So keep it real, keep it smart, keep it sane.